evening from a rather beautiful sunset in Athens. Hope everyone's doing well. I first of all would like to apologise a bit if I'm a bit husky. I picked up a bit of a cold. I flew over from Bali to here yesterday and I seem to have picked up a bit of a bug. So if I'm a bit croaky, I apologise. I'll drink some red wine to help keep me speaking okay. And also apologise for a bit of a delay in my last speech. I'm very conscious that the time flies by and I've been rightfully kicked by various social media and marketing people that I should say hello again and give you a bit of update on what's happening in the world of karma. So as I say, I've just flown over from Bali. It was a pleasure to be there for many reasons. One of them was because I was with my son, who's 14, about to turn 15. He wanted a bit of work experience. So he came over and learned about the kitchens and about being a chef and the back of house and all sorts of things. And so it was a fantastic time to spend with him. And also we went to our charity, Bali Life, which is very close to my heart, as you know. We went to our orphanage, which is just up the road from us, where we look after children who are orphaned or abandoned or all sorts of terrible backgrounds. And it was very, I think, leveling for him to see that and to experience that. We just built for them a couple of buildings, a kitchen and an art centre. And I'm very proud to say that we've also now contributed a brand new bus for them. And it's in my son's name, Columbus, so we're going to call it the Columbus Cruiser, so they can go to football matches and events and whatever. And I must say, when I go to these philanthropic endeavours, whether it be the Crystal House School in India, whether it be the Bali Life charity, it really touches me and makes me feel that what we are doing is very special, that we can help so many people. So that's great. It's also very good. I must say that, you know, my children are taking a big interest in the company at the moment. As you may well know, my middle daughter, Amelia, was recently in India, and during her holidays, she wanted to learn how the business works in India and went there in the middle of the monsoon, and she immersed herself in the culture and she had a fantastic time. I think it learned an enormous amount of it. And my eldest daughter, Charlotte, is now working for the business running what we call the House of Karma, which essentially is a program aimed at a younger audience, loosely 25 to 35 or 25 to 35 in spirit, although I probably count as that. I'm certainly feeling 25 to 35 in spirit. We believe very strongly that our product offering, our resorts, our parties, our events, the experiences that we offer are totally relevant for that age group as well. So we're very conscious of trying to provide it accessible in various ways to the younger generation, because even though we all feel only 21, we're maybe slightly getting older, and it's important that we repackage, I suppose, without sounding too much marketing jargon, to a younger demographic. So it's great that all my children are taking involvement in it, and indeed many children of my directors and senior managers, because for any company to go forward, it's essential to have young people making decisions, because they understand the people of their generation. And much as we like to think at my age, we simply don't. So we have to get them involved. I also am very excited to be in Bali. I mean, there's so many exciting things happening there. The beach club is really taking shape. For those of you that have been there relatively recently, it's looking fantastic. We've got some great restaurants and bars. The Travelator is now finally working. I know it's been frustrating to many people, not least the staff, who've had to walk up and down steps many times, but it's now back up and running. Ironically, we've instigated a fitness challenge, which is called the Stairway to Heaven, and we are inviting members of staff, owners, clients, members, whoever comes across our brand, to challenge themselves to run up the 360 steps in the fastest time. And we currently have a leaderboard record of 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So if you're fancying yourself doing it, I have to say I haven't done it. I need to be a bit more training to do it. Then we are going to have cups, and we're getting Red Bull involved in sponsoring it and all sorts of things. In Bali also, the new apartment block, the new block of suites, I believe it's 34 suites, is almost finished. That's handing over to us in November. Currently the furniture is going in, the show apartments are done. It's looking fantastic, to be honest with you. I'm very proud of that. And as well as the actual suites themselves, we're putting a Thai boxing ring on the roof for fitness. We're putting a sports bar downstairs so we can watch the rugby and the Formula One and whatever may come on. So that's coming online soon. And then we commence the construction of what we internally call Phase 6, which is the new development at the back. Elsewhere in the group, lots been happening, some of which you may have heard about. I was recently in India, and we have a new resort in Sharm el-Sheikh. Sharm el-Sheikh is on the Sinai Peninsula in Egypt. It's a fascinating place, actually. I hadn't been there before this trip. It's hot, of course, but it's a dry heat because it's desert, so I find it quite attractive. It's amazing scuba diving, snorkeling, all sorts of water sports that are there. The weather is beautiful all year round, and particularly in the winter, when in the northern hemisphere it can be a bit grim. It's a very, very attractive temperature. So we think that on its own will be an attractive resort, but in particular we think that'll work very well with our boat, with Karma Kandara, and so people can combine maybe 3 days cruising down the Nile, seeing the temples and seeing the ruins and all those wonderful, wonderful things that you're unable to do on the boat, with spending 3 or 4 days relaxing on the beach and doing a bit of snorkeling or just chilling out in the sun. So that'll be available as a package as well as independently and on their own. Elsewhere, as you know, we have a new resort up in Sikkim in India, which is doing tremendously well. I'm yet to be fortunate enough to go there, to be honest, and I'm dying to go and see the yaks and the yetis and everything else up there, but that's really taken off extremely positively. And based on that, I probably shouldn't release this because the ink's not quite dry, but our plan is to do more resorts in northern India, in the Himalayas, or the Himalayas, I should say. And our next one is going to be in Manali, and so expect an announcement on that in the next few weeks in Manali. Elsewhere, I know every Australian is probably kicking me or kicking the phone or the computer, because we keep trying to get a new resort in Australia. The Margaret River land, I met with the architects next week. I'm going to Margaret River myself in, not November, sorry, in October. I'm going in October, and we will get that up and running as soon as possible. We are currently putting in the planning approvals and the permits. For any of you who are Australians, you don't need me to tell you that, particularly being involved in the outskirts for bushland, there is quite a few things that we have to do in order to start construction, and we are doing all those. But we are hopeful that we can start in a slightly temporary way with something in advance of more of a temporary or a non-permanent structure. So again, I don't want to say too much now, but when I'm down there in September, I hope to move things forward, so we will get something up and running in Margaret River. I'm also going to the East Coast after that, and we are looking very seriously at some projects over there. So I apologise. I mean, to be honest with you, I love Australia, and I very much do want to have projects there, and I am very conscious that we need to deliver on that, and I am very conscious that you've been very patient, that whilst we've expanded with many resorts around the world, which obviously many Australians are travelling into the whole time, we do need to get some more in Australia. So that's very up high on my priority list. Other developments, we are developing our app quite a lot. As you may well know, it's now possible to do online booking on it for members, so they can see the space that's available, they can request availability, and soon they'll be able to do absolutely everything automated. And we are bolting onto it a AI component, you know, the artificial intelligence, which is the big buzzword of the world at the moment, but it's moving in leaps and bounds, which will make the whole thing very seamless and I think very, very, very efficient. So again, we're trying to make your experience as a member as good as we can and as automated as we can. So again, expect to see some quite big advances on that side. This year, as you may know, it's a big year for us. It's our 30th anniversary. I sort of pinch myself when I say that number. 30 years since we began in 1993 on the beaches of Goa. It doesn't seem like it. It's gone by in a flash. We are going to be doing quite a few parties this year and events. Clearly for our members of staff, we'll be celebrating, and we're hosting a lot of events for members that we'd like to invite you to. So you can join us in raising a glass and a toast to the last 30 years and hopefully to the next 30 years. Although maybe that's why we need all of our children getting involved as well to help with the next 30 years. And I'm personally trying to go to as many resorts as I can. I've recently been over in India, I've been in Thailand, I've been over in Bali. I'll be going to Crete, I'm going to Mykonos, I'm going over to Spain, and I'm going to Carcassonne, Germany. So I hope to travel around and see as many of you as I can over the next few months, and we will also be hosting events in several of the cities where many of our members are. So again, we can catch up, and I can update you personally on what's happening, and we can raise a few glasses and toasts. We've also got some sports events coming up. As you know, it's the Rugby World Cup, and we're going to be running some Karma Curated events around that. We are indeed running several Karma Curated events. We're having a few down at Previgere, which I think you're aware of, and quite a few of you are coming on. We're doing events at the Oktoberfest, and we're very much trying to provide experiences and events for our members that we can interact with them and celebrate this year and have a good time at the end of the day. Elsewhere, we are renovating our units as we go forward. In Italy, some of you may have seen the new units there, which we're quite proud of, and also in Germany. And we'll be unrolling a program for all our slightly older resorts in Indonesia, where we'll be starting with our resort in Sanur and then doing a program over the next year or so to upgrade them all. We're very fortunate to have with Tina Kirshner, a superb interior designer, and we believe that the product that we can create is getting better and better. So again, for those of you that visit us on resorts, expect to see some movements and some changes. I think that's about it for me before my voice runs out. So again, I apologize if I'm a bit croakier than normal. Obviously, what I should be doing is drinking water, and the last thing I should be doing is consuming any wine, but I think you'd think it wasn't me and I was an imposter. You'd probably think it was an A1 bot taking my place if I didn't have a glass of wine. So I'm assuming the best cure for this cold is wine. So here we are in Greece. I don't know if you can see the sunset, but it's quite magnificent behind me. So clearly we have some Greek wine. Now this is a wine which I like, but I struggle to pronounce, and any Greek listening will kick me hard. I call it Eximinavro, which is close, and I think as a non-Greek it's pretty much as close as we can get. Eximinavro, but Eximinavro I call it. It comes from the north of Greece, comes from up in the Macedonia, it comes from Alexander the Great land, and it's one of the more, well, I would say more sophisticated Greek wines. I love Greek wine. For those that you that don't know Greek wine, it's come on leaps and bounds over the years, and Agoritico and Assyrtiko and all sorts of grapes are really tremendous. But this one is a bit more like a Pinot. It's a bit more delicate than some of the robust ones from down south. So I'd like to toast you all. It's good to catch up with you again. I promise I won't be away so long next time, and my various people will kick me to make sure I don't. I hope I see many of you over the next few months. I hope you're well, you're healthy, and I hope you'll join me in toasting our 30th year and the continued developments of resorts and the growth of Karma, and really trying to provide all our members a great experience, whether it be on holiday or during our events. Yamas. Yamas maestro. Yum, yum. I'll have some more.